wave. Tapped in, lately my life had a fast man, but it's ass plan. Fight for my life with the brass hands, and I still ball with a bad hand. Got an aerial point of view, but they'll never see the big picture through zoom lens. From the quicksand, make it push start, type of band's coupe with the tent plans. I'm back on my bender rolls for the kicks, they quick to give them 2 cents. Put my circle tight like we glued hands, like I don't believe in new friends. Tread light, I know the ice in. I drop the song, get a few wins. I crave the comfort in my own skin, really I just wanna feel the world spin. Go for check, watch me double that. I get it lit, I watch it bubble up. Remember opening for shows, no a show, but I pulled through, I muscled up. Now the label one, fuck with us. I spin the paper, let them know what's up. I figured I was really onto something, cause the jealous niggas give a subtle love. Crazy, they hella shaky on that really, but that's fake. Shit see through the shade, shit they so unstable. Done waiting, I'm a wanderlust, I'm really going all the way to places. Never thought I'd take it all off the phrases, but I can't get no sleep, landing in the weeks.
Hi guys, and welcome to this tutorial video. Oh my god, it is so hot in the UK at the moment. We are having a heat wave. It is mental. Today I'm going to be teaching you one of my go-to card tricks. A card trick that can be done at a moment's notice with a shuffled, borrowed deck. It honestly doesn't use any special setup or anything like that. You can just go straight into it. And I love tricks that you can just dive right into. Preferably with no props, but if I have a deck of cards, then this would possibly be my go-to. I've got a few tricks that I like to go into. This is one of them. You riffle through the deck and they say stop wherever you want. And wherever they stop, they take a look at that card and instantly you can know exactly what it is. Just by asking them to hold their hand out, you place the deck into their hand, it's completely hands off, you read their mind, know exactly what the card is. It's a great little trick, and from that, from knowing what a card is, there are so many tricks you can do. I won't even go into all the uses. Maybe this is just the beginning of a larger routine for you, or maybe you want to put this in the middle of another routine or another trick, or add this onto something. This is just one tiny little building block, and it's up to you where you put this in your structure. The deck I'm going to be using today are the Green Keepers by Illusionist. Without further ado, let's get into this card peek. Starting with a full performance of the trick, here is what that looks like. Now this is just going to be of the technique, not of any other tricks, just of how to know what the card is. And also, actually, I will turn the screen fully out of view so I can't look. I've got a screen next to the camera, I can't see what the card is. So just like a real performance, spectators don't tend to have screens on the side of their head, so I don't have that here. I will riffle and make this as free as possible. It is a free choice, but I will make this just really fair. I don't know what card you're looking at, and as soon as I return it to the deck, I ask them to hold their hand out, and I put the cards into their hand. They can hold on to it, it's completely hands off at this point. I know that it's the Jack of Spades. So yeah, I will turn the screen back so that now I can see everything, which helps when you're about to teach the trick. So let's do that. How do I know what to do here? This is pure sleight of hand, there's no gimmicks or anything. Now yes, I do sometimes use a shiner, a little mirror. I think that's sometimes a very helpful thing to do. However, if you don't have that on you, it's a bit of a specialised prop, this. So if you don't have a shiner, you can do a very similar thing using just your hands, just your fingers and the cards. The riffle process and the selection is completely fair, so this is a free choice. And when they look at this card, there's a little move that you do just beforehand to make the actual move later on easier. So it looks a little bit like this. They riffle, they say stop, and I do a little bit of a rearrangement of the fingers. Now that's a tiny moment, that is so small. Let's just do it again. This moment right here, it's tiny. All I'm doing is just adjusting my fingers from being here to adjusting them to be here when I hold the card out. And I like to lift my fingers up just as if, you know, it's not under any sort of control here, and then I come back down. And as I come back down, that's when the move starts to happen. So we go from this position right here. As I come back down, these fingers come back down and they make contact with the card, the top of the card. So essentially it is just the ring and the middle finger. The pinky finger can, if you want. I find that that looks like you're gripping it quite a lot, so I don't tend to do that. But the pinky finger can come down, and I've already executed the move. Now, although it looks like I have just brought the packets together, as soon as I do this, I'm now looking at the card. And you're only in that position for a moment, so don't worry about it. All you need to do is just look at the card. So as long as it takes you to look at a card and memorize it, like, you know, that's the King of Hearts, because, you know, you're used to playing cards, with just a simple glance, you know what the card is. So, the move to actually get the card in position to look at it looks a little bit like this. You riffle, they stop, little finger readjustment so the fingers are over. Now this is from our point of view, so you don't know what the card is they're looking at, but as soon as you come down, these fingers curl, they make contact, and what they're going to do, obviously now you can see it's the 10 of diamonds, but what you're going to do is push. But what that does, as you can see, is it leaves the card sticking right out, so that when your hand is over like this, they can't see that, and when you ask them to hold their hand out, the deck just naturally just turns. It's not a big dramatic turn, it just turns at the same pace that your hand comes out to demonstrate put your hand out. As soon as they do that, you've already glanced the 10 of diamonds, you tap here, and don't worry, I'll go over this again because I know I've done it quite quick. You just tap with your arm right here, which squares the card up completely. It goes into their hands. This is now their hand. They put their hands on top. It's all done. I will go over the move again though, because it is a little bit tricky. So, you riffle, you rearrange, they look, the fingers curl down, they push to the side, and then all of this comes down. So without me turning to the camera, that looks a little bit like this. And what I've done there is perfectly stick it out. Now it doesn't need to be this much, I'm exaggerating a little bit here, because when I started out doing this move, I did it a lot. And for instance, in this one, I mean, look how small that is. I'm looking right here, the Queen of Clubs. I know what the card is, but I don't need to have any more than just the pip, you know, it doesn't need to be out here. What's nice is that that movement happens in the act of coming from here to here. So I've done it now. I'm already in the position, I know that that's the 10 of diamonds sticking out. So it comes like that, and it's sticking out. And all it is, it's like the beginning of a clip shift. You just move the card a tiny amount to the side. And when the packets are meeting together, when they come together, you know exactly what the card is. Just by turning like that, put your hand out for me, excellent. As soon as you've glanced the card, you tap the deck just once on your arm, which squares everything up. Then it goes straight into their hand. I like to drop it, I don't like to place it. Just a little presentational thing. It looks like you don't care. If you just go like that, it looks like everything's out of your control. You're not trying to keep anything together by holding onto the deck really tightly. It's just like, okay, you know, we've had a card selected, whatever, it's returned to the deck. I'll drop it into your hands. It's so carefree. It really looks so natural. And that's something that I would suggest doing more in card tricks, is look like you're not fully under control. Now that doesn't mean drop cards all over the place, like, well, hey, I don't mean that at all. What I mean is just have a little bit more of a carefree attitude. And what that means is allowing yourself to take your eyes off the deck sometimes. Just have a little bit less to do with the cards. Just hold them out a little bit more natural. You've got nothing to hide. Now I don't mean do it all the time completely carefree. There are some moments where you should really zoom in on the cards and, you know, really have the focus on the cards. But not all the time, and I think it's okay to just sort of look like you're not fully under control. You know, when I shuffle, I purposely shuffle so that there are cards sticking up out all over the place. It just makes me look a little bit less professional. I don't drop cards on purpose. I know some people go to that extreme. I don't do that. But what I do is just shuffle with a little bit of a carefree attitude, you know? I think it is much more appropriate for every audience to appear to just be a human being, rather than a card, you know, manipulating machine. If you just act like a normal human being and then perform a miracle, that hits twice as hard. Whereas if you're being professional and polished all the way through, when the miracle happens, it's almost expected. It's almost like, well, yeah, because you shuffled cards like a you know, wizard. Obviously you can do these tricks. So there we go, that is my little tutorial on the sleight of hand card peek, and also some theory on how to handle cards, just my own little words. I don't know if that is something that you want to take on board, but if you enjoyed this video, make sure to click the thumbs up button down below. Subscribe to the channel if you are new and you've never seen a video from me before. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.
I think you're gonna have to be or you're gonna have to go fairies. And soft.